Good morning. You're watching the morning news here at CNN News 18. My name is Toya Singh. Right here on the show this morning, we're going to be taking a look at all of the country's top stories. Right now, though, we're actually moving to the neighboring nation of Sri Lanka as it grapples with one of the worst political and economic crises it has ever seen.
Protesters have stormed the place. A few things have been damaged. This window glass here, the door glass here, is one of the things that's damaged. It was later cleaned when protesters tried to storm the place. Is the way to Prime Minister's office. If you look there, one part of the door is damaged, and that's why they have closed the door to ensure that protesters don't storm that particular place.
All right, as we said earlier, our first story is Sri Lanka. Amid a state of emergency in the country, a nationwide curfew was imposed until 5 a.m. this morning, so till about just 2 hours ago. There has been a resurgence in the protests taking place across the country right now. The island nation of 22 million people faces massive chaos, with its president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, you remember, fleeing yesterday in the early hours of the morning. Now, he was meant to resign. The country's speaker had said he would resign yesterday evening on July 13th, but nothing of that sort actually transpired. Sources indicate that he will actually head to Singapore from the Maldives, which is where the president fled to. Now, an all-party meeting was conducted yesterday evening, with the leaders deciding to call for Ranil Wickramasinghe. He is the Prime Minister. They asked to call for his resignation. Remember, as we just said, he's the Prime Minister, but he's also the acting president as we speak. Thousands, as we just said, are on the ground protesting against the government once again because of the lack of access to essential items like food, medication, and fuel. Yesterday, around 75 protesters were actually injured in clashes. Now, my colleague Purnima remains on the ground. She's going to be bringing us ground report after ground report through the day today. First, though, take a look at her report to us from yesterday evening.
This is the Galle Face, where protests continue for the 96th straight day. Today they occupied the Prime Minister's office, making it clear that not just Gotabaya Rajapaksa, but also Prime Minister, who's now the acting president, should also step down. So as per procedure, the Parliament should convene on the 15th of July, and then on the 20th of July they plan to have a vote to elect the new president. Till then, in fact, Ranil will be the interim president. However, the opposition parties here do not have majority unless they get the support from a few parliamentarians who belong to the ruling party. They don't have enough support. So all eyes on how things are going to pan out, because many protesters here say that if Ranil continues to be the acting president, in all probability, that is something that Rajapaksa had planned.
If the defense chief want to make the peace in this country, even he must understand the administration has to resign now. That's the only way to make the country peaceful and stable.
Well, we are inside the Prime Minister's office. You can see that protesters have stormed the place. A few things have been damaged. This window glass here, the door glass here, is one of the things that's damaged. This is the living area, and you have a statue of Buddha inside. Glass pieces here was damaged. It was later cleaned when protesters tried to storm the place. And if you go further inside, there is a conference room And this is the conference room where meetings were held, where discussions were on to see how best the Prime Minister, along with the committee that was set up to look into the essential commodity shortage, those discussions were happening here. So what is there on the first floor? How many times have you visited the first floor?
More than like 5-6 times, because we were allowed to come here only today. Like, it's vandalized. See, they have put ropes and everything. They are not allowed, like, people who come here to watch, they are not allowed to go this way. They are not allowed to touch anything. They are just allowed to see what's here and what's the luxurious life they've been living.
This is where the Prime Minister's chair is. This is the place where, this is also the Prime Minister's room, and you can find this too has now become a tourist spot. Apart from Presidential Palace, Presidential Secretariat and Temple Trees, now Prime Minister's office too has now become a tourist spot. This is Ranil Wickramasinghe's room as well. And now these areas are being cordoned off because they think that there are certain damages that were done when protesters stormed the place. Therefore, you can find heavy security deployment, and there are ropes to ensure that protesters don't go